Okay. As Ryan said, we're going to be talking on communication. No, just kidding. We're going to be talking about partnering. Partnering can be a very good thing, and it can be a terrible thing. When you ineffectively partnering accelerates failure. That's not good. You know, you're failing, you get the wrong partner, and now you go straight down, you crash. So you don't want to get the wrong partner. On the other hand, effective partnering takes the ceiling off of opportunity. So right now, if your ceiling is, in your mind, crown diamond, you effectively partner, and now your ceiling is you're going to be a triple crown diamond, which doesn't even exist yet, but you're going to be there. There's no limit to what you can achieve when you effectively partner. I studied the biographies of more than 200 superachievers and found not one person had ever achieved anything significant, much less extraordinary, on their own. People always say, well, what about Jesus? Yes, Jesus is in a world all by himself, but guess who his partner was? The Father and the Holy Spirit. Oh my gosh, would you like a partner like that? Excuse me. Okay, so no, you can look at anybody. You can say, what about Ray Kroc, who started McDonald's? Yeah, he had two partners, would have gone broke without those two partners. One was a guy named Flaherty, changed everything. How about Walt Disney? He had Roy Disney, and he had the one, of course, everybody knows, UBI Works. What was UBI Works? Well, if it wasn't for UBI Works, Mickey Mouse would have scared the crap out of any child watching the Disney cartoons with Mickey Mouse, because Walt Disney did the original illustration of what Mickey Mouse was going to look like, and he was skinny, had a real skinny face, kind of looked like a creep coming down the alley. UBI Works said, Walt, that's going to scare the crud out of kids. Walt goes, really? Why don't you draw one? He draws the round face, the ears, everything. That's effective partnering. Do you know, Walt, Hubie was working for Walt before he was the Walt Disney Company, but they created their first successful animated feature, and it was a series. It wasn't a feature. It was a series called Harry the Lucky Rabbit. And it was so successful that the distributor stole it from Walt and stole all of Walt's animators. Walt was left with two people, his brother and UBI Works. And the distributor thought, man, I got the goose that lays the golden egg. No, he got the golden egg, but he didn't get the goose. The goose was the Walt Disney team. Roy Disney handled the business side. Walt was the creative side. Hubie was head of animation. And at first it was just three of them. But the whole Disney empire came because Walt Disney learned how to effectively partner. And he's one of about 200 different biographies I looked at. So we're going to look at the difference between effective partnering and ineffective partnering. The first thing I'm going to share, and a lot of this comes right out of the book of Proverbs, is how to avoid the wrong type of partner. Now, I will tell you that with the right partners, I made tens of millions of dollars. With the wrong partners, I lost tens of millions of dollars. It's just the partners, you know, it's the strategy and the partners, but the partnering is crazy. So we want to pick the right partners, and we want to effectively partner. Well, Proverbs gives us 7 red flags. I'm kind of fumbling with my book here. And if a partner is any one of these 7, then we avoid them. We don't partner with them. They can be our friend. They can be someone we love to minister to. They can be somebody that we just show love and kindness to, but we can't partner. A partner, you're actually getting connected. Okay, now the good news is you can partner with an author, not by recruiting the author, but by reading his books. That, in essence, is a form of partnership. It's not the best, but it can be life-changing anyway. So let's look at the red flags. So you don't partner with the wrong ones, because the first step of effective partnering is identifying who the partners can be. Okay. Actually, one step before that is doing your own analysis of your strengths and weaknesses. That's why we share how to determine, and this, I believe, I hope is in the back office. You know what? It's in the mentoring program. Ryan knows the name. I think it's Numi Academy. It's in there. But we teach the personality types, because you want to partner typically, and this is all in the identifying, you want to first identify your weaknesses. And that personality type shows us our weaknesses, because you're going to want to partner with somebody who is strong where you're weak. I mean, that makes a great partnership. You know what my weaknesses are? I hate administration. I hate detail work. I don't even like managing. I'm a terrible manager. So who do I partner with? I partner with Aaron. Oh my gosh, the guy is detailed out the kazoo. I partner with Bert, who is a scientist, make sure everything is perfect, because I would never do that. I'd give up after the first try. We have one new product we've been working on for probably 2 years now, and we're on iteration number 33. We're going to keep doing it until we get it right or get it perfect. And guess who's in charge of that? Bert. And he's got the personality type of someone who has to do it. It's ingrained in his DNA. He has to do it right. And perfect partner for Steve Scott, because, man, Steve Scott just wants to get the job done and never has to be perfect. That's not good when you are formulating product. That's not good when you're producing or quality control of a product. That's not good when you're a heart surgeon. I have a son that's becoming a heart surgeon. And man, I don't want somebody like me operating on somebody's heart. Ooh, disaster. Okay, red flags. How do you identify the people you don't want to partner with? Now, 2 of these red flags will identify a potential domestic abuser. So dads, you need to know this. So if you see these 2 qualities reappearing again and again with a potential son-in-law, you take your daughter out of the country. Anyway, because, man, you do not want to be the father of a daughter who gets abused. I know if my daughters were abused, I would end up in prison, because the abuser would probably, he for sure would be hospitalized, and he might have a couple holes through him, okay? Because you might abuse me. That's okay, but you don't abuse one of my 2 daughters. Okay, number 1, red flag, lack of integrity. And there's a proverb. I'm not sure what the proverb is on that. There's proverbs on each of these. Let's see if I can find. I got to find the section on red flag. On red flags. Okay, now that's effective. Where are the red flags? I'm sorry. Oh, okay. Here it is. Here it is. Lack of integrity. Whoever is partner with a thief hates his own soul. Whoa. You partner with someone without integrity. That's the same as hating yourself. I partnered with men who didn't have integrity, and just one group of men stole somewhere between 11 and 18 million dollars. Left a company near bankruptcy. Okay. And I and another man had to bail it out and put more cash in just to save it. And because these people had no integrity. Number 2, quick-seated, a quick temper or a deep-seated anger. So either you see them blow up all the time, or they don't blow up all the time, but man, when they unleash, it's like an exploding volcano. It's like a nuclear bomb. They have a deep-seated anger that's just building up inside them, and then whoosh, there it comes. So I'll say that again, a quick temper or deep-seated anger. That's one of the 2 qualities that will identify someone who will become a domestic abuser. but it's two of them together, not just one. I'll give them out of order. The other one that goes with this is the one who has a disregard for rules, regulations, laws, authority. And here's the big one. They disregard personal boundaries. Somebody tells them no on anything and they don't even hear it. Somebody says, you know what, if you do that, that would really hurt me. They don't pay attention. They do it anyway. They don't have a regard for personal boundaries. So those two combined, a quick temper, deep-seated anger, disregard for rules, laws, they're above the law, or personal boundaries. That's no. When those two are together, watch out. They will become, if they don't get help or they don't get redemption, they will become a domestic abuser. By the way, if any of you have those two qualities in you, let me just say we do have help on the way. And you can always text me and I'll be glad to give you some counsel and point you in the right direction. Okay, number 3, partner you want to avoid is evidence of foolishness. They may be very charismatic. They may have a great resume, but they tend to push the limits and they're foolish. You see some foolish behavior that makes you say, why the heck did you do that? What were you thinking of? Okay, so once again, you can be friends with these people. You can bless them. You can do things that make them want to be more like you and less like themselves. But you can't be their partner. Okay, offers a lot for a little. That's another one. Hey, and that's why as network marketers, please, please, please don't hype our product. Don't hype the opportunity. Our products get results. You can show them before and afters. You can tell them your own personal testimony. But please, I've got an aunt that has cancer. Will this help her? No, you don't hype it, okay? Your answer to that question or any other health question, you really need to check with a doctor. I don't know if we'll help or not. Don't ever become a wannabe physician. You're not a doctor. Well, we actually have quite a few doctors involved. I saw Dr. Nancy was on, and I'm sure that we've got some of our doctors on right now. You guys can be all the doctor you want, but the rest of us can't be doctors. Okay, so offers a lot for a little. Be realistic. So somebody says, wow, how good can I do on this? I say, how hard are you going to work? How many hours are you going to put in? Put in a little, get a little. Put in nothing, you get nothing. Put in a lot, you have a chance to get a lot, more than you might make in any daytime job. There is huge opportunity for the person that works and works smart, not just hard. So learn what diligence means. They can go buy Richest Man Who Ever Lived, chapter 2 on diligence. Every executive that's read this, that reviewed it, said chapter 2 was the one that blew them away. How do we become diligent? Diligent isn't just hard work. Diligent is working smart. It's effective partnering. It's learning to become an effective communicator. To be diligent, there's 8 qualities that you've got to have, or you're not diligent. You may be a hard worker. My dad was a hard worker. Oh my goodness, he worked a lot harder than I've ever worked. But he wasn't diligent because he didn't know how to effectively partner. Okay, number 4 thing to avoid, or no, we've already said that, offers a lot for a little. Number 5, this will get you. I had a guy that set himself up and he ended up defrauding me out of $3 million. And when he did this, one thing the flag should have gone up. I hadn't written the book on Proverbs yet, so I hadn't identified all these. But this is what identified him. And he ended up conning me out of $3 million. I can't earn $3 million today. When you lose $3 million in cash, here in the United States, you had to earn at least $6.5 to $7.5 million to put 3 away because of taxation. And but here it was, excessive use of flattery. Proverbs says the person that's always flattering you is spreading a net for your feet. What happens when your feet step on a net? You're in a trap. You're all bound up. You're not going to do what you want to do. You're going to want to do whatever anybody who has trapped you wants you to do. So you lose ownership of your future when you're trapped in a net. And it says the one who uses flattery spreads a net for our feet. Now, what's the difference between flattery and praise? Praise is great. You know what praise does? Praise validates a person's worth. Praise honors them. Praise lets them feel good about themselves, about their accomplishments. So here's praise. Praise focuses on something the person actually accomplishes, not on something the person hasn't accomplished. Somebody says, "Hey, Steve, you've got a nice beard." Flattery. I didn't do it. I mean, God's the one who's in charge of whether or not I'm born with the ability. Poor Ryan couldn't grow a beard forever. Now he grows really a nice beard when he does. But we don't have anything to do with it. That's God. So don't watch out for giving flattery, but be quick to praise people when they do things right. And that's what I want to do. I want to honor people. I don't want to dishonor people. And part of honoring is praise. So praise for what they accomplish, what they work to accomplish, even if they don't accomplish what they want. Ryan's first year of Little League football, his team only won 1 out of 9 games. They lost every game. But you know what I would praise? I would praise their effort. Anybody on the team that did something that really showed effort, whether they got sacked or not, I'd say, wow, you got right back up after getting hit so hard. Way to go. So we find things to praise, okay? But flattery, no. Watch out for people that use a lot of flattery. An inclination to gossip or exaggerate. Now, I exaggerate, and my wife has to call me on it. My kids call me on it. Why? Because they know Dad wants to exaggerate less, because exaggeration is like a little white lie. So I always invite people, if you hear an exaggeration, feel free to let me know, because I don't want to be this type. So that's one red flag, but an inclination to gossip. Why is that important? Because gossip is like a little arsenic. Do you know all it takes? A teaspoon of arsenic will poison hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of gallons of water. Just one little teaspoon. A gossip says unkind things about people, whether they're true or false. They say unkind things, and they say it to more than one person. And that throws arsenic in the swimming pool. I don't want that in our corporate level. And if that happens and the person doesn't change, they will be gone. And you need to so watch that for a partner. And the last one we've already said is a disregard for rules, regulations, and so on. Okay, so those are the things to avoid. So now, what is the key to effective partnering? Step number 1 is a good analysis of your own strengths and weaknesses. Take the personality test, look at your natural weaknesses, look at your strengths, look at the way you communicate, look at what motivates you, and so on. And chances are your partner should be someone who is a different personality type. Now, in television production, I produced over 1,000 television commercials and shows, and I had a producer named Frank Kovacs. And Frank is a high beaver. I'm a high lion. Lions are damn the torpedoes, full speed ahead, get it done done on time or before time so you can move on to the next challenge. That's a lion. A beaver is, whoa. It's got to be done right. Let's do it right. Let's do it better than right. Let's do it really good. No, let's do it better than really good. Let's do it perfect. Those are the ranges of a beaver. My producer was a high beaver. Why was that important? Because everything we did was done with major celebrities. And if you have one production that looks bad, you won't get Tom Selleck. You won't get Charlton Heston. I got them for free. Okay, they looked at my production values, not because of Steve Scott. I wrote the script. They liked the script, but they could look at other things I had done, and they were never be embarrassed by their production values because of Frank Kovacs. Perfect partner for Steve Scott for 30 years. I never had to worry about production. I just had to show up and say, okay, ready, action. And then if I didn't like the read that a celebrity gave, then I'd say, can you do it this way next time? Give me one more. Yeah. And it worked great. So that's the first step, is identifying who you really are. If you don't know your weaknesses, a great person to ask is a spouse or an ex-spouse. They know all your weaknesses. They know all your faults. Man, they can, and you think, well, I don't want that. No, let me tell you, Proverbs says a wise man treasures reproof, because that's how we change. That's how we improve. And so bring in the reproof, bring in the criticism when you know, and we, in this book, we show you how to deal with criticism. Criticism never has to hurt you. And when you receive it using a particular method that we show, nobody has the power to hurt you. They can criticize you as much as they want, and you'll never be hurt by it. Wouldn't that be fun? That it is. In fact, Stephen Covey, who wrote the book 7 Habits of Highly Successful People, when he reviewed my second book, he said the insights on criticism alone are worth the read. Okay, because they're life-changing. Okay, so you identify your own strengths and weaknesses. Then you look for a partner. Now, the next step in partnering, the first step is identifying your own weaknesses. Second is identifying potential partners. Okay, who has strengths that'll be my strengths? And we show you several things they have to have. They not only have to have strengths that you don't have, and you can be strong where they're weak, but you want to make sure that they can catch your vision. Now, catching a vision for what you want to achieve, first and foremost, falls on you. So when we teach communication, we teach you how to effectively communicate, because you're going to have to communicate your vision. You say, wait a minute, I don't have a vision. First thing you have to get is a vision. So we show you how to vision map. All of this stuff's in here. I'm not trying to sell books. It's just that this was what I learned that ended up in this book. It was all life-changing. So you have to gain a vision. We show you a process called vision mapping. It's in my new book. My new book comes out August 16th, and it's called The Joseph Principles. I hope you'll write it down. Feel free to pre-order it on Amazon. It is an incredible book, not because I wrote it, by the way, but because the teachings are from the life of Joseph, who was the most successful businessman in history, the greatest rags to riches story in history, all in Joseph. But he never taught us how to get what he had. Guess who did? Jesus. So the teachings are from Christ. The example of the life and the power of the principles, there's 12 principles, we see illustrated in Joseph. So anyway, we do teach vision mapping because Joseph was a man of vision. He saved 2 nations. That's what a man of vision he was. People say, yeah, he interpreted those 2 dreams. Yeah, but then then the Pharaoh trusted him to come up with a plan that would save Egypt from starvation. So his plan not only did that, it ended up saving Israel from starvation as well. Okay, so let's see, what else do we, okay. I'm not giving the 4 steps in this book. Okay, so step number 1, you've identified, you know your own self, you know your weaknesses and so on. Don't be afraid of weaknesses, by the way. We all have them. You know what I don't like about people saying, oh, you're going to hurt their self-worth. Forget it. Our worth isn't in ourselves. Our worth is in the God that made us. Our worth is in partnering with him. He should be our partner. I don't care what faith you are. If you're not partnering with God, you're missing something. I'm sorry. I have to tell the truth. Can't lie, at least about this. So I have told lies, but not on that. Okay, so identify your need. Now you're going to look for somebody that fills that need. So you create a list of potential partners. Now, how you go to those partners is a strategy. All these are taught in the book that I did called Mentored by a Millionaire. Now, the strategies, number one, remember, you're going to communicate your vision. So you have to get a vision in the first place, what you want to achieve. And it can be real simple. I'm a 1-star, I want to become a diamond, or I'm just joining NUMMI and I want to get to 3 stars in the next year or 2 stars in the next year. That's my vision. That's what I want to achieve. And to do that, here's what I have to do. I have to do so much of this and so much of that and so much of that. So you've got to convert your vision into specific goals that you have to attain. You convert each goal into steps and steps into specific tasks. And then you start to do them. That's called the vision mapping process. Okay, so now you've got a vision of what you want to achieve. You're going to communicate that, but you can't communicate it just from your perspective. You have to learn their frame of reference. What makes them tick? What do they want to achieve? So you go to somebody, maybe you go to your upline. Say you want to partner more effectively with someone that's your upline or your upline's upline. You go to them and you say, you know what? I know that if I become a diamond, it's really going to increase your wealth. It's going to let you get your dream more quickly. And so I've got some ideas, but I need your help because I want to go from where I am now. I want to be a 3-star by such and such date. And I don't have the capacity. I don't know what to do. But if you'll help me, I'll take notes. And you can hold me, here it comes, accountable for performing the tasks and taking the steps. We got to have accountability in a partnership. If that person catches your vision, they go, yeah, I'll do that. How often do we need to get together? Well, we can Zoom or we can meet. How about once a week? And you can hold me accountable and you can watch my progress, and we'll just meet for, do you have 15 minutes a week? Don't ask for an hour. Don't ask for 2 hours. Ask for 15 minutes. Once again, you're communicating about them. You're trying to do something that's going to be beneficial. You don't want them to do it for you. Hey, I joined this thing because you told me it was good and I had opportunity. So now help me. That's all about you. That doesn't motivate anybody. You want to motivate from their point of reference. Okay, so you identify the potential partner. You have to recruit them. There are several things you have to do in recruiting. Let me turn. This is the book where I really get into the teaching of all this, and I apologize for, let's see, maximum achievement and minimum amount of time. That's partnering. So in this book, it's called Steven Spielberg's Masterful Strategy for Maximum Achievement in Minimum Time. And he learned how to partner. I don't know if all of you know this, but I did go to school with Steven Spielberg. We went to the same high school. We sat next to each other at every football game. We met up again 18 years after we graduated. We had both achieved our impossible dreams. He did it in filmmaking. I did it in marketing. We had both made a lot of money. He made a lot more than me, obviously, a lot more. I mean, he's a billionaire. But we talked for 45 minutes. It was at a restaurant. And he saw me and he came over and he says, I know you from somewhere, but where? I go, fight, go team, go, for give your all for the red and blue. He goes, Arcadia. I said, yeah. I said, I sat next to you at every football game. I didn't know your last name, but I remembered your first name because it was the same as mine. And he goes, but you weren't in the band. I said, no. He goes, the color guard. I said, yeah, you played it. I raised it. And so then we talked for 45 minutes. And do you know We both had done the exact same things. We both learned how to effectively partner. We both learned how to effectively communicate. We both learned a whole different goal setting system that I call shooting for the moon. We had done all these exact same things. And finally, after 45 minutes, Stephen said, isn't it amazing? What changes your life isn't what you learn in school. It's what you learn from your mentors. And I said, yeah, but Steve, how many people do you know that had mentors like you had? Sid Sheinberg, I had Bob Marsh and Gary Smalley. He goes, oh, yeah. He says, I don't know anybody that had a mentor like I had. Ta-da, that's when I decided to write that book. Okay, so let's see, where is this? I'm going to go through this real quickly because I thought I was going to be sharing on something else, and Ryan said no. Do partnering. Okay, so we've identified the right part. Number 3, okay, now we get into the recruiting. And that's what I've already kind of led you to. To recruit a partner, you have to figure out how it's in his best interest. To know that, you need to know his or her best interest, right? You need to know what makes them tick. If you don't know them, maybe you know somebody that knows them. So you might say to, Gus and Carol, hey, what really makes Phoebe tick? What gets her excited? And they know her real well. Aaron knows her real well. So Aaron Garfield, you could have that conversation. And they say, well, I'll tell you what, you don't want to bring up this because that turns Phoebe off. So stay away from that. But you know what she really gets excited about? She gets excited about this. You know what our scientist gets excited about? And I found that out in our first meeting. You know what turns him on? Getting to the third world. He wants to save lives. And he knows our technology can be life-saving, potentially for millions of families in the third world. And he said, you got to commit to me that we'll be able to put a percentage of profits toward that goal. I said, perfect, Bert, because I have a shareholder who's our biggest shareholder financially. He made the biggest investment. And he said the exact same thing. He wants us to get to the third world, and he wants us to really treat the third world clinics for the poor and stuff as mission, that we really go after serving them. So I'll put you with Tom Patton now, and you guys will be in charge of our nonprofit efforts. And okay, now they're partners. Because how? Because I knew both of their frame of reference. Okay, so that's the recruiting process. Now we get to the part where most partnerships really screw up. This is where most partnerships fail. 80% of all partnerships fail. Okay, this is the primary thing that causes it. And this is the 4th pillar. It's motivation and effective utilization. Okay, Phoebe and Michael have different approaches for communication. They have different strengths. So Michael decides, I want to recruit Phoebe because I believe in Numi, and Phoebe knows me, and she was sampling the product same time Mike is, so she's a pretty easy target. And he said, man, I want to get Phoebe. Now he talks Phoebe into it. And he says, Phoebe, you come in, and man, I'm going to make sure that you're right on the inner circle, and we're going to have a company that listens to the field, and I'm going to make sure they listen to you because you have great ideas. And Phoebe says, great. So she partners with Mike and then Michael, and then guess what? We form the field advisory committee. And I say, hey, Michael, what do you think about Phoebe? And Phoebe, he says, you got me. You don't need Phoebe. We're from the same team. If he had said that, Phoebe would kill him, by the way. He didn't say that, Phoebe. He was very excited about you joining the FAB team. I'm saving your butt, Michael, by telling you. He never said anything like that. He said, I think Phoebe would be great. Okay. But if he hadn't said that, if he had kind of minimized her, diminished her role, see, that's ineffective utilization. I had a friend that was a brilliant financial analyst, and this brokerage firm tried like crazy to recruit him. In a small family-run brokerage firm, And so they finally recruit Tom. In fact, this is in my book, Mentored by a Millionaire. And man, they've got the golden calf. This guy analyzes 26 different factors and makes great decisions. His clients all love him because he made us money. And he even has a radio show every week. So he attracts new clients. Guess what they did? Every time he told them they should do this for their client, they never did it. When he said buy, they never bought. When he said sell, they never sold. It was as if they hired him, but now they weren't utilizing him. That's ineffective partnering. It's also very demotivating. Now, I'm running out of time, so I'm going to tell you there's two ways we motivate people. We motivate usually with fear or with honor. Now, fear can get something done instantly or very, very quickly, usually more rapidly than motivating with honor. Okay, you do this, buddy, or your history next week. You've got till Friday of next week or you're out of here. Okay, that's using fear. So the guy works his butt off, stays away from his family, does all the things, gets it done. Guess what? You motivated him to get the job done, but he doesn't want to have anything to do with you. He sees you walking down the hallway and he or she turns the other way. Okay? Because you use fear. Fear never builds relationships. Fear destroys relationships, just like anger does. And yet, we oftentimes try to motivate our children or our siblings with fear, our employees with fear. Short-term results, long-term destroys relationships. How about using a system or an approach that does just the opposite? It may not get the immediate job done, although we can show you how to do it with that, but it will always build the relationship. And that's honor, the word honor. Most important word in any relationship, marriage, parenting, that's the word. Gary Smalley, when we filmed his seminar in 1988, he has props. Gary always taught from props. And this particular session is how to honor your mate, how to honor the differences between you and your mate. And this one was how to honor women. And the next one was going to be wives, how you can honor your husbands. And because honor is the number one word. And so he's got on one of the tables is a broken violin. If you held it up by the neck, the little thing that all the strings are attached to will swing in the opposite direction. So he goes over and picks that up and he says, okay, look at this. And everybody laughed at it. What do you think this thing's worth? I mean, obviously it needs some work, needs to be repaired, but what do you think this thing would be worth? $100, $200, $500, maybe, I don't know, because I've never bought a violin. That's what Gary said. And then he said, but let me read you something. And he pulls up the violin and he reads what's inside one of the holes there. They usually have two holes. And I don't know what you call those because I'm not a violinist. Anyway, so he reads 1723 Antonin Stradivarius. 800 people went like this all at the same time. He had a Stradivarius in his hand. It was worth millions of dollars. Somebody had loaned it to him for the show, a friend of his. You see, now what happens? Same piece of wood, exactly the same. Nothing changed. Still broken. But all of a sudden, there was honor. And he said, that's what we want to do for people. That's what we want to do for our spouse. He said, write the word Stradivarius right across their forehead so you can begin to honor them. And he says, I know people say, what is there to honor about my husband? Have you seen him? Have you listened to him? Have you spent 10 minutes with him? What is there to honor? And then Gary got on into it. You know, God so loves your husband, he created him. I'm sure he loves him more than you could even imagine. So you don't honor him because he's earned it. You honor him because of who he is. He's a creation of the same God that created the universe. Honor. We motivate with honor. Everybody in network marketing knows recognition is a big part of it. But it's more than recognition. It's more than that, hanging that frame and that says 3-star or diamond. Those are all wonderful. But you know what? A lot of you are friends of mine. Prue and Greg, Phoebe, Aaron, we just happen to be hitting Australia here. Michael, Gus and Carol. You know, I absolutely love you guys. And instead of using the word love in business, I'm choosing the word honor. And if Phoebe called me tomorrow and said, you know what, Gus and Carol are going through something, and I think they'd really feel loved if you'd give them a call. You know how long it would take me to give them a call? I couldn't hang up with Phoebe fast enough because people are valuable. I love the people that I know and knew me. For some reason, we are attracting quality people that care. When we get into those third world countries and we help missions distribute our product, do you think it's going to be hard for me to find volunteers to show up and help? Not this group. Oh my goodness. You guys will be coming from all over the world because that's who you are. And that's who we're attracting. The number one quality, there's 7 qualities you want in a partner. Let me share them real fast. I know we're going long, but hey, you can hang up if you want. Partnering. Here, let's see. No, I don't have it here, but I'm going to tell you. There's 7 qualities to look for in a partner. And I've got them listed, but I can't find them. But the number one, integrity. You want integrity. Number 2 is a lot harder to find, but if you can find it, it's second only to integrity. Kindness. Proverbs says, you know, when you're thinking about a necklace, think about this one. Truth and kindness. That's what you want in a partner. Those of you that I know, I've got to tell you, we got so much kindness in you. You know, even when we make a big mistake, you guys are very careful on how you share it with me because you don't want to hurt my feelings. I've screwed up. A lot of you know I've screwed up big time. And yet the reproofs are there, the truth, but they're delivered with kindness. Wow. Is that so cool? So that's what we're gonna end with that. If you want to go deeper, you can, and I'm not trying to sell books. I know that contents. Richest Man Who Ever Lived or Mentored by a Millionaire. This came out in 2004. It's the first one Larry King had me on his show. This was the second one. This came out in 2006 and it's still in hardcover. You go get them at Amazon. They're both at Amazon. I apologize for the price, but I don't have anything to do with that. But they do teach on these things in great detail. So we'll end with that. I just want to say thank you for joining us. Next week, we'll have next month, we'll have our normal meeting with great announcements. We will have some great recognition, and you won't be hearing from me for a while on that. But thank you for this opportunity. This wasn't my decision. Ryan and Aaron asked me if I would teach something tonight. So that's why we got it. Michael, thank you as always for hosting and all the work you do. Phoebe, thank you for keeping my screen clear of admit somebody so I could concentrate. And I'll see you all later. Michael, I turn it back to you.